How you doing? My name's Nick. If you don't know, I live in the Catskills. That's upstate New York. I do a lot of working on the truck videos like this one, 2021 Ram 2500. I got a Suburban over here. I also do a lot of work in the shop, in the house. If those are the videos that you like, subscribe. I'll bet you'd be happy. This one is about how to get your 3/4 ton truck to ride better. I'm going to talk in terms of my 2500 and what I did. We're going to start with the free stuff and we're going to go down to the semi-expensive stuff. We're not going to talk about going with air ride suspension. Everybody knows you put an air ride suspension, your truck's going to ride a lot better. But this is a tradesman. I'm not putting in a freaking $4,000 suspension change. No. So let's start from the beginning. First things first. When I test drove this car, it was just one that had on a lot. Felt great. It didn't ride as good as the 1500 I had before that. But you know what? I was trading capability for ride. I knew that. I said, okay, this is not bad though. Can totally deal with it. When I got this, I got it brand new. It was delivered. I picked it up. I drove it off that lot. I didn't test drive it or anything. I drove it off the lot. Honestly, I drove home. It was a 2-hour trip. By the time I got home, I was feeling a little queasy. I was all over the place, bouncing like crazy, and it was mostly highway. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I drove for 2-3 days. I was like, what in the world is happening? It's like, why does this feel like garbage? And then I realized the PSI on the tires, they had it set to like 90 on every single one. Now, here's what's going on. First of all, the door says 60 in the front, 65 in the back. Here's what's happening. When the truck gets delivered, right from the factory or whatever, the staging area, that they ship it to they ship it to the dealer, and everything needs to be tested, right? That's why when you get a truck or a car, or whatever, it's always got a few miles on it. Why? Because they have to test drive it. They have to put all the fuel, they have to make sure everything is good. What they also do is pump the tires up to max PSI to make sure they can be pumped up to max PSI and they don't explode. The problem is that it's a real pain to bring them down and match what's in that door. And a lot of times they don't do it. They'll test drive it with max PSI and they'll come back, it's done, it looks good. And they just, you look at the forums, people talk about having 90 PSI when they bought a car, when they bought a new truck, a 25, a 3/4 ton. You see it. It's like, yeah, I got the thing. It had 90 PSI on every single tire. It happens. It happens all the time. So if you're riding around and you're ready to puke out the window, double check that PSI. It was set to 90 for me on every tire, and they do it to a lot of other people. You got to bring it down. Here's what you can bring it down to: whatever the door says. Mine says 60 in the front, 65 in the back. They give you a little extra in the back because of 3,000 payload. That's what I have. But in reality, if you're not carrying around payload all the time, you don't need to worry about doing 65 in the back and 60 in the front. You can actually go down a lot less. The light on the dash usually comes on 20% less than what the door says. Door says 60, you can go down to 48. Anything below 48, that's a cold number, by the way. That means you get up in the morning, you test the PSI. Whatever it says is the cold number. You can go down to a cold number of 48, around there. That's what I'm thinking, 47, 48 in the front, and then whatever the back is, right? I have it set to 50 in the front and 52 in the back. I believe that's what I have. The ride is even better than the door numbers. Without a doubt, the ride's even better. Now, does it hurt MPG? Well, I don't know if that little bit of a difference hurts MPG. 90 to 50, that definitely hurts MPG. Of course, if you have the thing, if you're riding around with 90, it's definitely better MPG. It is what it is. But I wouldn't worry about that because you don't want to ride around 90, right? And I would rather a smoother ride and have to deal with a quarter, MPG or something like that, a quarter mile per gallon less. So drop it down. That's the free way to get a better ride. Even if you didn't see 90 and you saw 60 and 65, drop it down as far as you can until the light comes on. I'm telling you. And also a lot of people, I'm saying 60 in the front, 65 in the back. But in reality, a lot of people drop the back lower. Why? Because the truck stock is going to be higher in the back. It's going to be higher in the back. So they lower it a little bit just to bring it a little more even. It helps the looks a little bit. So you can do that. You can do, 51 in the front and 48 in the back or something like that, or 53 and 48. Whatever you want to do, but you can get it down there really low. And there's even ways to bring it to a mechanic. This is not free, obviously, and they can change that threshold. They could put it down to 35, and you could be running 45 and 40 if you want to. But that costs money. We're just talking about the free part. The next thing you can do, and this is what I did, this is the first thing I did, is that I put a sway bar in, an anti-sway bar, and that is from Thorne. It cost me $550. A lot of people on the forums said, no uncertain terms, it will change your life if you just put this Thorne sway bar on. I put it on and I drove it just like that. I put it on and I wanted to see if my life changed. The only thing that changed with my life is that my pocket had $550 less money in it. That's it. Did I feel a difference? I felt a little difference. I really did. I felt a little difference. But, you know, this didn't change my life at all. Now, what does this thing do? Well, let's talk about the stock one. Let's say this is the passenger driver. You go over a bump on the passenger with the stock one, that's what you're going to get. It transfers that bump straight through that sway bar, right? Well, with the Thorne, you go over it and you're barely going to get a bump because the sway bar has movement in it and it takes up that bump. You always see that, oh, when you turn into a driveway, you know, it's going to be a lot nicer. Well, you're going to spend $550 plus installation. It better be better than just turning into your driveway. Because you turn into the driveway, you hit that tire first. But you got to be turning in right. If you turn it in left, clearly you're going to hit your tire and it's not going to matter. So it's only 50% of the people. Now, in reality, it's got to be, it's got to be driving all around that's going to help you. Some people, I guess, drive around in specific areas where they're always turning right and they're hitting bumps, and it totally changed their ride for them. It didn't for me. It changed a little bit. Here's what did change everything for me. When I put the leveling kit on, which I did, a Thorne leveling kit, it was $750, I think, $750 to $800. I'll link this stuff in the description. It's a Fox 2.0 shock. It's just a 2-inch leveling kit. When I put that on, and I put this bumper on. This bumper is a Weston HDX Pro bumper. It weighs about 185 pounds. When I did that, the ride became incredible. It's better than my 1500. Now, here's the problem. Here's where I screwed up. I put the bumper on and the leveling kit at the same time. Why do I say that the bumper is? I should point this out. I think the bumper actually preloaded the suspension so that a little bump, it's not going to lift it up enough. You see what I'm saying? I've preloaded, especially off the front like this, I've preloaded this so much that in reality, you need to run over a serious bump for it to affect this weight that I have right now. I don't know what's doing the bulk of it. Is it the bumper or is it the suspension? It's definitely a combination, but you know, it's 60-40. Is it 60-40 suspension or 60-40 the bumper, 60 the bumper? I don't know. But I can tell you right now, if you have the sway bar and you have the leveling kit and you get your PSI down, you're going to have a 1500 quality ride. That's my opinion. I think that if you lower the PSI, you're going to get close to 1500, and if you put a couple of bucks into the front suspension, it's going to get you to 15. It's going to get you to the 1500 ride quality. If you want an even better ride quality, you got to do some different things. There's probably some other parts you could buy if you don't want to buy the bumper. You got to talk to somebody about that. But you don't need to put in like a $4,000 suspension change. $550 plus $750 is what? What the hell is that? 1,300? Yeah, that's 1,300 bucks, right? Obviously, if you got to pay somebody to do it, it's not going to be $1,300. It could be 1,800 bucks, 2,000. I'm not really sure. The job is not hard, especially the sway bar. That is easy, easy, easy. You don't need to freaking lower the axle. Watch my video on how I put the leveling kit in. It's not hard. Yes, you need to drop the axle. Yes, now that sounds scary, but it's actually very easy. On this truck, it was simple. You need 2 jacks, and you need some good jack stands. That might be a barrier of entry. If you got a friend with that stuff, he'll help you out. It's very simple to do. Really, watch the video. You'll see it's not that bad, and you save a bunch of money. That's what I would suggest, and your ride's going to be, if you really want your ride to change, but not spend a ton of money, those are the steps that you need to take. If you don't care about money, just go put an air ride. Get an air ride in. It's going to cost you a whole bunch of money, but you're driving around like freaking, you're driving an S550. That's how good it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, we can't spend, not everybody can spend that kind of money to make your ride like a Mercedes. So, all right, Hope that helps somebody. Thanks, everyone. See ya.